Hello everyone, it's the Opinion Zone. I know you're not used to hearing our voices because it's been about 6 years, but we're still here, we're still chatting, we're still Sonic fans, I promise. I am Jay Eggman. I am founder and creator of the Sonic Show. I am a revitalizer and almost re-murderer of Sonic Cage Dome. I am TikTok person, and I'm everywhere and there at once, as I've said many a time now. And yes, so it's Jay Eggman. You're welcome. I'm here with David the Lurker. Hello, Davey.
Oh, hello, Jamie. How are you?
I've missed you especially.
Oh, heck.
Oh, heck. I missed that voice. And we're also joined by an Opinion Zone host from back in the day, such a long time ago, Tom.
It's been so long.
We've decided to let you back on. But not only do we have these two chaps, we also have a previous guest of the Opinion Zone, Lisa Medden, illustrator, artist, amazing person in general. Hello, Lisa.
Hello there.
It's wonderful to have you back. You've been on the show before. You've been such a supporter of us. We've missed you.
I missed you guys. Where did you go?
We basically thought, we'll just take a break for a bit, it'll be fine, and then we'll come back in 2020. And that was not a good year to do that. So we decided just forget about that year.
It will be like 2020 never existed.
Exactly. And you know what? Sonic Central made life feel a bit normal again, because it felt like just, the world's normal, the Sonic news of actual substance in the world. So we all have to talk about it. Everybody's talking about it. We're going to talk about it. Firstly, when they announced, hey guys, in a few days' time, Sonic Central, basically announcing a Sonic Nintendo Direct, basically. How excited were you, Lisa, when you found out this was happening?
Oh, wow. At first, I didn't really get what it was going to be. I thought, yeah, they're probably going to do something like in the near future. But then I realized, no, wait, this is happening now. I didn't really understand that. I was starting to get excited until my friends started hey, Liz, are you going to watch the stream? Hey, I heard you're going to... they had been... there are so little things happening that they have started taking on my obsession with Sonic. Yeah. And then I realized, yeah, I do need this, and I'm looking forward to it. It's like having a... what's it called? One of Apple's streams,
yes.
When they announce new products, but with Sonic.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Well, there was excitement and there was also dread because, it's like, it's always exciting to get new news, but are they gonna pull something out that I'm a little afraid to see, and it's just going to completely fall apart, and that's what people are going to obsess over, this one terrible thing. But, I was definitely... I was pleasantly surprised at how it was put together, because it was put together nice, and there was nothing too shocking that was revealed. But it's like, yeah, I guess I felt good afterwards, even if I had specific feelings about, could this be better, or is this, or whatever, whatever. But yeah,
I was just gonna ask, what were your biggest fears? Because I'm really, really curious about that.
Oh, the biggest. I guess the biggest fear would have been we're announcing a brand new, here's the new Sonic game, and it's just something that seems to be more of the same, very clearly, this is just Forces again, or something, or even something, I guess, worse than that. I don't know.
Was you worried of a Sonic Forces 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Right, because I'm not the biggest fan of Forces. A repeat of the Sonic 4 situation where a lot of people at once went, oh no, this is bad, and other people went, no, but you don't know, you've only seen 3 seconds of footage, and then more came out, and then the game was finally released, and it wasn't a good time overall. There's always the fear of, we're going to have another situation like that, especially people fighting in the fandom. But I'd say for the most part, it's people seem pretty okay. Even if they weren't wowed, they're not saying this is the worst, at least as far as I've seen. I'm sure there are people who are everything in this was bad. So
there are some Sonic fans you can never please.
That is true.
I think it was solid. It was like led up to everything, and then of course I think it ended on the most obvious yet perfect note. Shall we get into what they actually went? What was the things that we all got to hear? I think because they covered quite a lot in 12.5 minutes. It was quite packed. One of the first things they announced was a free Sonic the Hedgehog concert, full orchestra, and including guest appearances from the likes of Crush 40 and it's a virtual event and is being made available to everyone for free, so a free live stream basically. Now, was anyone like excited by this? My reaction was, okay, that'll be nice, but I like, it was pretty. I wasn't super hyped about this.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
Basically because I know how much energy and money and like care that each of these online events that I put into them. And I think this was a really sweet gesture, and I'm totally gonna hook up my computer to my TV and like watch it for reals and really enjoy it.
I think you're 100% correct. It's an extremely nice gesture, and I will definitely. I think it's an experience worthy of you watching it through your television. If you've got a sound system, using it, not just huddling over your iPhone.
No, I'm totally gonna treat it like it's the real thing. I'm gonna treat it like I bought it. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the other things they announced.
It was really good.
This was such an interesting selection of announcements. Was the basically Sonic's future cameos in a variety of different video games. Tom, as my cosplay hero, I just want to know when one of the first ones, which was that the Sonic mascot costume, basically will be a playable DLC character for the upcoming Tokyo 2020 official video game. When I first saw the footage, I thought it was live action. I thought they'd actually were filming.
Yeah.
Me too. It's so confusing.
I was like, what is happening? I don't understand. Because they started showing footage of Sonic running on a track and field or something, and I thought, why have they made this? Sonic and Mario came out already. We've been done played that, and then it only clicked afterwards. Oh, which firstly makes me realise the lighting on that game is amazing.
It definitely threw me for a loop just when I initially saw it, and I have to say it is a really good model. Part of me actually even thinks that with how the animation is, like, are you telling me if I get this pre-order, basically I am cheating in all like distance or running events because I get a special power boost for wearing a Sonic costume? It's an interesting one, but I don't think it's going to be something I would buy just because it's a funky costume. As much as I love it, and it is one of the better Sonic costumes or mascot costumes that is in existence. As we all know, that some of the older ones were very interesting per se.
I just love the fact that whoever was on the marketing branding team who came up with this idea of, hey, let's have Sonic DLC in this game, but because it is the real world, let's make it the official mascot costume. I hope they got a pay bonus for doing that idea, because it's such a good idea. But it's not the only game. He's also appearing in 2 Point Hospital, which is I own this game. I love this game, and he's appearing as a variety of costumes and decorative items. They sort of showed them playing Sonic on the arcade machines. However, as someone who plays 2 Point Hospital, those arcade machines were already in the game from the start. So that's not really a new thing. But I would love to go to I would spend all my time in the hospital if it was covered with like chili dog themed carpets and the Green Hill trees and stuff.
There was something they could have done, in my opinion at least. Okay, Sonic's in it. But what about Dr. Eggman? Would not go to hospital with Doctor.
He's not a medical professional. I would not trust Eggman with prescribing anything to me.
So you mean he has a diploma from a university? He's like written a really, really tough essay. That's the kind of doctor he is.
Right.
But are we trusting a someone in a Sonic the Hedgehog costume to be a doctor, but I wouldn't trust someone to be a Doctor Robotnik or Dr. Eggman costume.
I
my
think I'll
doctor.
take my chances with the Sonic Doctor.
Right.
One of the other collaborations, crossovers they announced was Sonic the Fighters, and when that first appeared, I was like, "What's happening? Like, is that coming to mobile? Like, what?" And then they were like, "Oh, it's going to be one of the arcade machines in the next Yakuza game, which comes out in September."
I've been waiting for this. I'm for it. I think it's fine.
Is it? Was it? But I don't know. David might have it. I just don't know if it was worthy of an announcement in the Sonic Central. Like, it didn't feel like a Sonic
Definitely
announcement.
not.
Because there were like loads. If it's anything like the other games of that lineage, like there'll be other Sega arcade games. This is just one of the arcade games, and it's just because it happens to be the Sonic one. They made it an announcement.
Well, yeah, they definitely just threw it in there because they're like, we gotta. This has to be 12.5 minutes. This will fill up some time.
Exactly.
And even in the footage, you can see next to Sonic the Fighters is fighting Vipers. So that must also be there. I think it's cute. I think it's because, it reminds me of even when they did it back in Shenmue. Like, oh, you could play Outrun and Space Harrier, and the fact that the Yakuza games have continued that, I've enjoyed. And I guess, this is sort of linking all of Sega together, because in Shenmue, you could get the little Sonic the Fighter capsule toys, and now, in Lost Judgment, you can play Sonic the Fighters in the game. It's full circle. Just like how Sonic can look like a circle.
David, you've got me overthinking the whole Shenmue thing, because he did collect Sonic the Fighter style figures, even though that game was set in the late 80s.
Yes. Well, I guess time is different in Shenmue world.
They also...
He also had a Saturn, remember? He had a Sega Saturn.
Like, there is no way...
One of the last things they sort of chucked in as a throwaway was that there'd be more Sonic DLC coming in the future that we're not going to announce, and they gave a very quick screenshot of someone who'd built a Sonic head in Minecraft. I was convinced in my head there had been, like back in the Xbox 360 days, there had been a Sonic DLC pack. But maybe I just completely imagined that, and I'm just thinking of costumes that were modded into the PC version.
It feels truthy, like it feels like it should have been a thing. But I also can't quite put my finger on when it would have happened. But it feels like it should have happened.
Right, so, DLC, lots of stuff. I was watching it like, cool. Then they were like, but you know what? When you're not done with your free DLC, you can actually spend some money, and here's all the way you can spend your wages. First one, I didn't realise how excited I was for this. So, a lot of you will already know, Jack's Pacific is currently whose main license in terms of chucking out toys right now. And they announced Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Eggman Robot playset, and something happened to me. I don't know, just the nostalgia of me as I keep playing Sonic 2 as a child on Death Egg Zone, or I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I need this Death Egg robot. I need this figure. I want this figure. I love this figure.
Did you get like the same kind of feeling you got when you were a kid and one of your friends, usually the one with divorced parents, got the Technodrome, like actually got that huge playset with a Technodrome for Turtles?
Yes, I associate with that feeling when I saw this. I was like, because the other thing is, I know it's just me maybe, but I feel like most people who want this sort of thing are adults.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kids want a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Eggman robot. Like, I don't know how many kids are playing who know what that reference is.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I definitely would have wanted that. Like, I would have gone crazy over all the Sonic action figures and toys that have come out since. It's like, why did these not exist when I was a child? I don't understand. So I have mixed feelings, because it's like I want it, but I also go, well, is it just going to sit on a shelf, or am I going to keep it in a box? Like, I kind of would want to play with it,
What the other things that they announced was the Sonic the Hedgehog jewelry collaboration with King Ice, and I think it was my favourite description of anything ever when it said it was styled so to give, if you wanted to have the hip hop look as to quote them, the hip hop look.
Was that written in 1993?
I was like, what do you mean by the hip hop look? Be careful. But but King Ice are making the most blingiest hip hop looking character jewelry set, and I am fascinated to know how much these will cost.
Yep.
I don't know if I can pull off one of these. I think I would just look a bit silly.
I bet some youths on TikTok will pull it off, but I'm sure not one of them.
I probably wear all 4.
Yeah.
The Tails one actually looks like it could be worn by someone.
My
Knuckles one, yeah.
My only concern with the Tails one, it looks like his little fringy hair bit on his head looks like it sticks out slightly, which means it will be the first thing to snap off.
Oh, that's the first thing I think.
Yeah, it looks so fragile, so that's my only concern.
Right, if you are at a hip-hop concert and you are dancing with persons, they'll snap right into someone. They'll go right into their, like upper torso?
The first part of that sentence sounded like a fanfic, and then it just... Yeah.
See, it sounded like a fanfic, and then you, for some reason, you seem to chose violence today, and then it's like... If bling wasn't
terrible but cool.
Exactly. If bling wasn't enough, though, I want something shiny, but I don't want to wear it on my cleavage. Then you could choose the 30th anniversary silver and gold commemorative coins. From what my understanding is, and if anyone listening can correct us on this, our Twitter is @OpinionZoneShow. So follow us on Twitter and correct us and tell us how stupidly wrong we are. But it seems like the coin itself can't be used as currency, but they are real silver and golds that are valued and basically an alternative way of storing money, if you were to keep gold rather than actual money, and that coin has a value of equivalent of it's $2 worth of silver in that case.
That makes more sense.
Looking at their website, they sell coins, of course, already, as well as other things. And a 1 ounce finest silver US coin with a lovely picture of an eagle on it, because of course, which says $1 on it, will sell by check or wire for $77. Or if you buy in crypto, is $77.39.
For Christ's sake.
Why is it 39 cents more?
I know there's different rates for crypto and different rates for PayPal.
Wow.
Cryptos, I think the range change every second.
So it could be anything.
Wow.
Yeah, you can just imagine the value.
Some of the more intriguing things, I feel like it sounds like a very expensive coin, and I'm sure it'll come in lovely packaging and will be worth nothing. I don't see you ever getting your value back on that. But
could they just send me one to review, for free? I'll be like, wow, guys, look at this coin. It's really round. I really enjoy the fact it can roll, just like Sonic.
The true value were the people, the friends were made along the way.
Right, so merchandise. We've all spent our money. That's great. So we've had a free concert. We then spent our money on. We played all the free DLC. We then bought millions of pounds in coins.
And then reinvested them in Bitcoin. Yeah.
And then we thought, right, we're going to sit down and we're going to watch Sonic Prime in 2022. I'm
so confused by this, and I have so many feelings. Please continue.
So basically, Sonic Prime, which was previously announced to be a Netflix animated series, appeared in the stream. Was it a trailer? No. Was it some more information? Sort of. What we got was Joe Kelly from the animation studio Man of Action, via a very much a Zoom background, rather than anything else. Basically said, "Hey guys, we're working on it. We're very excited. It's about Sonic, and he's basically going to be fighting Eggman, blah blah blah, through 24 episodes of enticing moments of self-discovery and redemption.
That's the thing.
Through a mysterious world called the Shatterverse, He's going through the Shatterverse to self-discover himself. That's all they said, really. Nothing else other than it's coming out next year. They did, in the background, show what appears to be a piece of artwork, which seems to be a new version of the Eggman sort of emblem that we're used to, which implies that it's something hinting towards what's coming in the show. So what do we think about Shatterverses and self-discovery?
I have my thoughts and feelings. First and foremost, doesn't it pretty much mean they've decided to go like the dramatic route? Like, since they said, was it redemption and like self-discovery? That kind of means they're gonna give Sonic a hero's story arc. And that probably means they're gonna put him in a certain position, which he will then, like, he will evolve from that position into something else. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna think about it, but I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah, I had a theory when it was first announced, because it mentioned the multiverse is going to break. I had a thought that maybe Sonic is the one who's responsible for things breaking, and so he has to help put it back together.
That was exactly my first thought as well.
Yeah, and nothing that was said in this stream contradicts that idea. So, I mean, Shatterverse sounds interesting. It definitely reminds me of the phrase Spider-Verse, and you're like, and I know a lot of people like to have compared Sonic Prime to that, even though we haven't seen a single second of what Sonic Prime is.
I'm wondering. Sorry, I'm wondering if they're gonna like do something like Turtles Forever, if they're gonna like do little nudges and nods to other Sonic media, or if they're just gonna like each episode is a self-contained adventure, or if it's more like a story arc that just runs through the whole season. I really don't know. I'm blissfully. I don't know anything. It's really cool.
There's a part of me that really, really, even if it's just for like one episode, if we do have different styles of Eggman, different or Robotniks, depending on how they want to announce it, I really, 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 really want them to get Jim Cummins to reprise his role as Robotnik from the Sat AM cartoon show, at least for like one episode, as in like in his like dark and like quite sinister way.
Like that. Yeah, that voice.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine how interesting it would be to hear Mike Pollock and Jim Cummins trying to bounce off each other, with Mike being his very comical, light-hearted, villainous, and then you've got Jim Cummins on the opposite end of the spectrum, with like completely sinister and evil, and just, I don't know, something about that just gets me excited, thinking of the prospects of what could happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's on paper, it's not out of the realm of possibility, because we also know Wild Brain is doing the animation. They're working on the project, and Wild Brain used to be DHX, and DHX used to be Deke, and Deke made Stat AM and AOSTH and Underground. So, like, that should be all fine legal-wise. I just wonder if they'll actually do it. I would like them to. I hope they do some sort of reference. Like, if you're going to do a multi-dimensional, here's like a Sonic multiverse, there already are so many versions of Sonic you can explore. So I hope they touch on some of that, instead of it just being, we met Sonic and he's a pirate, and then we hopped over here and now Sonic is a cowboy, but like I would hope that they dive a little bit deeper, even if they can't, even if it is just like an episode or two where they go to a Sonic universe that we've seen before. Like, that would be neat. I would like it.
We can really only hope that they try. Let's take a break, and then after this, we will talk about some video games. Sonic Origins.
Yes.
This is the most fascinating reveal, I think, ever, because Sonic Origins is a compilation of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 3, and Knuckles and CD. So it implies that the assumption and the implication is that there'll all be Taxman versions, which means widescreen, etc., etc. Which means it seems like the most obvious versions of the ports to use. It was just such a weird reveal because it was using all footage, just random footage of different versions of the game, like different captures of the game. Like it looked like they just ripped random things off YouTube. All of it, most of it 4x3, but all different varying levels of quality. It was really like a really weird mashup. None of the footage came from this upcoming compilation.
No.
And it is coming out next year. Mm-hmm. And to me, if there was any game that you could fart out in time for the 30th anniversary, it was this. Like, if you are using the Taxman versions, you've already got 1, 2, and CD ready to go. I don't know how complicated it is to port a game that came out on the Xbox 360 to the current gen. Like, I don't believe it's because that game came out on everything. It even came out on smartphones. Like, it's very adaptable. So I don't know what's taking them another year.
Well,
it feels like they decided to make it at the same time they decided to announce this stream.
The thing is, what I've heard is that the music rights really are the big question here. And if they make any alterations to the code at all, for example, to make it widescreen, all those worms will come out of the can again. And so there has been some speculations among fans whether they're gonna actually just use the beta music, which Sega owns completely, where there are no traces of Michael Jackson's team's involvement. And I don't know about that, because I think they should just pay up whatever Sirocco Jones wants, he can have. But I just want my old music. I want my Michael Jackson music back in Sonic 3, please.
They didn't say anything. They just went, these games are there and there'll be extra features. And it's like, wow, What does that mean? That doesn't mean much of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I get if it's all in widescreen, I guess the assumption is that we have an idea of what 1, 2, and CD will be like because they exist. And it'll be nice if they are the Taxman versions, which they probably are, that we can finally play them on something that's not a phone or an Amazon Fire Stick. But they didn't announce anything as to like who's behind it, like how is it actually. It
sounded. I think because I don't think they really know. I mean, it seems like so early on in concept for them not even to have anything in terms of a trailer, like not even like graphics or anything. It was very much the fact. That's what baffled me is they have the Taxman versions of these games, especially exist, and including Sonic CD, which was released on consoles in widescreen. So the fact that they were like, now we're not going to use any footage from those versions. We are going to show you footage of the Genesis Mega Drive versions of the game in 4x3 in a not even up. It was just so cobbled together. This and like hasn't got a logo. It hasn't got anything. So and I don't get it because like the only reason to me you would release a compilation of games like this on current gen hardware, well at the point it comes out will be last gen hardware, is to celebrate an anniversary, but it's coming out next year and I don't understand why.
I think it might.
So we'll celebrate it.
Feel the hype train.
Talking of hype trains, we need to talk about this. Which is how the stream ended.
Yes.
Oh right, Izuka showed up.
Yes. So yeah, he was literally like, one more thing. It's like, okay, calm down. And then it cut to trees. Then Sonic, no music, interestingly, just like the noise of him running. Yeah. And then slow motion of his foot bending in a way that looked like he just didn't look like you. That's not how you should support your knees when you're running. Just looked uncomfortable. But anyway, he's running, and then it zooms out a bit, and like he's running, and he's got like this energy flowing off him, which we'll discuss in a sec. And then he runs round a bunch of trees, zooms out to be a logo. What does this logo mean? Has Sonic changed his name in the way that Prince did? And now he's the Hedgehog formerly known as Sonic? Like, is that what's happening? And then all we know is it's coming out next year. That's all we officially know anyway. It's a very different approach to the Sonic Forces reveal. I feel the Forces reveal gave away a lot more in terms of like, it was like, we've got Sonic, we've got classic Sonic, the world has gone to crap and Eggman is blasting everything. And I feel like it gave a lot more direction already as to what it was. Whereas this could be, if you haven't read any leaks, could be anything.
It could be anything that you dream of.
That's right. Even a good Sonic game.
Because at the end of the day, what have we learned from the trailer? Sonic runs.
Yes, it's true.
And he runs around. He runs in a forest. So the only thing it gives in the trailer is this little like effect of his running, which is like the little squares, which could either be interpreted as, and I'm sure David has many theories on this, but could either be interpreted as a colours wisp effect or some remnants of Forces / Mania. Because that also reminded me of some of the aesthetic of all that.
The first thing it reminded me of was the Phantom Ruby. So yes, I agree about like the feeling.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So we're all in agreement with that one then. That just like that feels like the Phantom Ruby is still in effect in some shape or form.
It does feel like it, but it feels like if that's what it was, they would have pushed on it harder. They would have like made a point out of really showing this is what it is. I got kind of the vibe. I had like a really, I had a fan theory that I really clung on to when I was maybe 14. That every adventure game would have like a new element. Like the first game was water, the next gonna be fire, and so on. Which I quickly had to scrap once Sonic Adventure 2 came out. But I'm kind of getting that feeling here, like they're trying to reach for something. I don't know, something mystic.
When I saw the trailer initially, I didn't think it was actually modern Sonic to start with.
Me too.
When he's running around, he seems like he's still trying to like get to grips with running around. I thought it was like maybe this is like a unique twist on classic whilst giving him that modern look, and using the particles that may or may not be the Phantom Ruby would be an interesting way of being this is a continuation of Sonic Mania Plus in a 3D style. So there's like still some remnants left onto him, because technically the whole Phantom Ruby, to my knowledge at least, is meant to be part of the canon. It's you've got the emeralds, and now you've got this one random ruby, which happens to be on this located or found in the exact same place as the homeland, the core of where the Master Emerald is. So there must be some sort of correlation to why the ruby existed to begin with that we haven't been touched on yet.
I love fan theory so much.
Isn't that what the Sonic fandom is like 70% of the time?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
we got nothing else to talk about.
Well, it's interesting. Like, we've waited basically 5 years for something new, and all we got was him running in a forest, which is not a lot to go on, but it's still interesting.
It's pretty much what we want.
Things it did fail to confirm was that it is in fact a new entry into the Sonic timeline rather than an adventure remake, which was another heavily rumored, theorized, suggested avenue for this game, especially as it was going to tie in with the 30th anniversary, which we've learned recently that the 25th anniversary was the same. Nothing came out that year, so yeah, it seems to be a new entry. What I find more exciting is the fact that it would imply that someone posted a while ago, mind you, about having play tested a game concept or something.
I read that.
Yes. Now, what makes it so interesting is, so this was back in January, and this person posted back in January that they did a focus test for a game currently titled Sonic Rangers. Now, people, being the smart little noggins that they are, data mined the trailer and stuff, and basically it's tagged with the name Sonic Rangers teaser.
Yep.
Which would imply that this guy back in January somehow knew the name of something that's currently out there. Now, the person who did this focus test basically suggested that the game that they were asked to focus test was an open world game populated with small enemies, puzzles, and platforming challenges. Completing the different challenges and puzzles rewards you with EXP, which can be redeemed in a type of skill tree. Skill trees unlocks abilities such as Spin Cycle, where you hold Y, Sonic starts tracing a line behind him, and if you finish a circle, it attacks all enemies inside it. Lock on still there. There's bosses spread out through this open world. Defeating them grants you orbs. They didn't have a specific title at the time. And then if you collect enough orbs, you go through a portal into cyberspace. Cyberspace being levels in a generations boost style. And beating them gets you a Chaos Emerald. Obviously, collecting all Chaos Emeralds is required to finish the game in this context of this setup. It did have new voice acting by Roger at the time of play, only Roger. So which would stick with what's happening with him announcing that he's sticking around. So yeah, it could be an open world-ish Sonic game. If that's the case, I'm gonna lose my tits. I'm gonna go. I don't think I'm mentally prepared for this.
In a good way or a bad way?
In an amazing way.
Okay.
It's I know that what I described doesn't sound like a pleasant experience, but if this new game turned out to be another boost style game that we've seen since Unleashed, I just would struggle to be hyped. The fact that they are trying something genuinely new. My only concern is it's something genuinely new, but it is gonna be a game that can run on the Switch. So it is held back by whatever is achievable on the Nintendo Switch.
However, to actually counter-argue what you just said about the Switch one, let's not forget using the whole Unleashed idea that the Wii version and the PS2 version had a very different version of Unleashed compared to the next gen. So there is a possibility that we could see like an alteration between the two.
Exactly.
Right. Well, in that leak, they do mention Breath of the Wild as a comparison.
I just don't see how on the hardware they.
Right. Because they also mentioned what were they called? Like the towers, like things or something that is similar to towers in Assassin's Creed or something, where it's like, oh, you go and that you do the thing and more. Like there was something in another post of like there's an open world, you have to climb the tower, you climb the towers. Like I don't know if Sonic literally climbs the tower, but it's the same sort of thought process of you get to the tower and then there's more to see and more unlocked.
I want to be optimistic. I'll always do, but I'm just a bit worried that this is gonna turn out to be like a Nintendo game, and it's not like I hate Nintendo games. It's just like, I'm a Sega girl. I would prefer Sonic not to be Zelda.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a little cautious at the idea of a Sonic open world because I feel like it could go wrong. Most Sonic games have always been like you get from point A to point B, and it's not that Sonic couldn't do open world. I mean, when Mario transitioned from 2D to 3D, there were definitely open world concepts that were introduced that weren't there previously that worked for the character. But I've wondered if because Sonic seems so objective focused and because of his moveset, which includes being fast, like if it would be hard, like either it would be harder to set it up so it works right because you could go everywhere, or maybe having like the big open world might make it feel less open world, but still be open world because Sonic can go to places faster than, say, like an Assassin's Creed or a GTA, where it's like you're walking. There's cars, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure how to feel about the idea.
Yeah. On the other hand, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favorite Sonic game. No surprise, I was born in the 80s. But yeah, my second favorite Sonic game has to be Sonic Adventure 1. Because it promised, the first Sonic Adventure. Because it promised us like a bigger Sonic world. It promised us like they would follow up on the lore that existed in the original game. And it kind of did. And the open world setting was a big part of that. Because I could run around and just, fool around and do nothing that wasn't consequence, but it was fun just having the power of being Sonic, just not while in an action stage, and Sonic Adventure 1 felt really vast to me when it first came out.
Sonic Adventure in some ways does have the promise of an open world because of how all the action stages link to it. So exactly. There is hypothetically, like if that had been remade and it's all one seamless thing, that is an open world that could work with Sonic. I'm just worried that they might say, open world, and then just try to do what everyone else does instead of what actually works for Sonic with that idea. That's where the word.
I do hope.
Are you ready for The Witcher?
I hope they, they approach the design as what works for Sonic, not just follow what is trending in terms of the gaming world. But we shall see in 2022, which is a running theme for most of the announcements this year, is celebrate Sonic's 30th anniversary next year. Which is fine. We're more than willing to do that. Any news is good news at this point. And of course, they did announce...
No, 2021. Only
one thing is coming out in 2021 is Sonic Colors Ultimate, which we are discussing in another episode. So make sure you listen to that. We have run out of time, guys. Thank you all so much for going through so much Sonic news that I don't know how our minds coped, to be honest. It's overwhelming. Guys... check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us a rating, and if you want to leave us a review, tell us what you thought of Sonic Central, to be honest. Or you can find us on Twitter. We're Opinion Zone Show. Find us on Twitter. Guys, thank you all so much. We love you, and we've missed doing this. We've missed this so much.
You've been so missed, but we'll come back.
Okay. Lisa, where can people find you if they wanted to online?
Well, if you like Swedish, and I hope you do, you can find me at Lisa Madin at Twitter. Lisa.Madin at Instagram. Pictures speak louder than Swedish. And also lisamadin.com, because I love my name and you should too.
David, where can people find you?
I am on Twitter. It's at DT Lurker. The letter D, letter T, the word lurker. Woo, it's fine. I guess I also have. That's the same thing on Instagram. And I checked it. There's 5 pictures. I have 5 pictures on there. So I might actually upload a 6th. So I was wrong. I don't know. It's fine. And then you can always catch me. I guess hiding out at sonicretro.org, which is a big old Sonic site. I sometimes write on the front page. We have a Discord. Yeah, it's fine. And then I guess occasionally I do stuff on the YouTube channel FTCR. So
you do.
Yes, I also talk about Sonic there. I know it's a strange twist, but
beautiful.
It's there.
And
I know.
Jay?
I broke for a sec. Tom, where can people find you?
Well, that's the tricky thing. No one will find me. I'm really kind of obsolete on most social networks at the moment. I do technically stream from time to time. I will be rebooting it soon enough now. I've got work and getting a rhythm back in. If you do want to try and keep in touch or enjoy some weird commentary during video games and such, you can find my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/mojitos07. And once I get that all back up and running, we'll be going through some classics and some moderns, and we'll have a good time.
I love that. So guys, and you can find me everywhere. Just
Sonic.
search. Yeah, just search Sonic Man, and I'll appear in all sorts of places. Guys, thank you so much for listening.
yeah.
We'll be back again soon? Question mark.
I
Hooray!
hope so. Yeah.
Um,
We're on the race to episode 100. That's what I heard.
Oh yes, race to 100 episodes.
It will come out in 2022.
Yeah, just in time for the next game. We'll see you guys another time. As I think I'm saying this now, ciao for now, because of ciao. Bye.
Oh, nice.
It's a tagline. It's a slogan. It's building brand identity.
The Opinion Zone podcast is produced and edited by me, Jay Eggman. You can check us out on Twitter at his Opinion Zone Show, all one word. And don't forget, the Opinion Zone podcast is part of the Audio Boom Network.